everyone. I am Zoe Frost with Celebration Magazine Live, and we are here for one of the first and only for I don't know how long in-person and Zoom events that we are doing. We are calling this a hybrid. So we've got Joey Bailey with us today from Essentially Spoiled, and she is going to be telling us all about essential oils and how they can help alleviate your pain and the different types of oils that are available to you. So without further ado, first.
Okay, very excited. Very excited to finally be here in live in person because oils are meant to be smelled. So we are going to be able to do that today. I am Joey Bailey. I'm with Essentially Spoiled. My company assists seniors in oils. I also work with many other individuals. A little bit about me is that I am a radiation therapist by trade. I got into senior health care working at an oncology clinic, and I have since been in senior health care for the last 22 years. Then seeing how essential oils worked for epilepsy and so forth got me to thinking, how are they working with dementia and things like that in senior healthcare, and then learned so much more how essential oils work in the body and pain and everything else. You can advance. So that's when I went and got my certification in aromatherapy. I am certified as a clinical aromatherapist, also in palliative care. So I work a lot with hospice patients as well. With aromatherapy, I am also a certified dementia practitioner. And I need to update this slide because it's not 19 years anymore. I have aged. We are 20. I am a board member of the Dementia Friendly board that is around the Dallas area and Denton County. So next slide. So we're going to jump right in. Essential oils are oils that are found naturally throughout the earth, that they extract from plants and barks of trees and leaves and all kinds of different areas that come natural from the earth. One thing about essential oils is that you really want to use them physically, but also it's very spiritual and mental. Oils are, a lot of times you hear, oh, oils don't work for me or whatever. But a lot of it is you have to play around with them. There is a lot of oils that you can use for the same situation. For example, peppermint can be used for multiple different uses, as well as spearmint. So spearmint and peppermint can interchange together. So there's a lot of different oils that we can choose from, which makes it so much more fun for us to be able to play with those oils and use them for different ailments. So today we're going to kind of keep it to those oils that are focused towards pain alleviation and how you can use those. And we're going to go through each oil. And can they pass the oil around? Okay, I was going to say, if we can, because then they're going to make oils, right? Okay, so I do have some oils that we're going to get to smell today as well, so that you guys can get a feel and a sense for those. Okay, next slide. So the first oil that we're going to talk about is thyme. Thyme oil is, it has a lot of different health properties. So this is a thyme oil bottle. So thyme is an oil that is antispasmodic. It's definitely strong. You're going to be able to smell how it will work for any type of aroma inhalation. So a lot of times thyme can be used for allergies. It can be used for headaches, anything that's kind of a stressful situation. Thyme will be found in a lot of your oils that you're going to mix in those blends as well. It's also an anti-inflammatory oil. So it's got a lot of properties. So each oil, when it's extracted from the plant or the leaf, or the root, which thyme comes from a plant and leaf. So it's going to be extracted lots of lots of constituents that are going to come into that oil. And one of those constituents is an anti-inflammatory and an anti-spasmodic. So with anti-inflammatory, then that's going to help with your pain, sedation, and so forth. You can go to the next slide. I think that one is just, it talks about how the many health properties are. So the next slide talks about, it's also got a sedating effect. So that's one of the effects that you can use if you're trying to calm down, like we talked about with a lot of anxiety. Sometimes with pain, you get that anxiety, you get that increased tension and so forth. So with it having that sedating effect, it's going to help you kind of relax. And so that's going to also help with a lot of those pain receptors that you're having to help with that pain. So that's why thyme is also used a lot in blends that we use for pain blends. Next slide. The combination of these properties makes thyme an oil that's a great remedy for pain and inflammation, which is what I just said. So next slide.
My mask is gonna smell really good after this. I still smell thyme.
Yes, definitely. This is just kind of a quick, you can mix 2 to 4 drops of thyme oil and coconut oil. You always want to put your oils with a carrier oil. The carrier oil is going to carry the essential oil to the receptors and the properties that you need. Also, it's really good to use a carrier oil because you don't just want to put an oil directly on your skin. You're not really sure how that oil is going to affect your skin. Some people may be very sensitive, so it could burn your skin. There's different things. So we'll go through a lot of those too as we move forward. Next slide. So the next oil is rosemary oil. Rosemary oil is another one of those that you're going to find smells very strong. Yes. It's very similar to thyme oil. So you're definitely going to see that it's going to have that same property of the anti-spasmodic, anti-inflammatory, as well as a sedative type. So a lot of times we use rosemary and thyme together. If there's a lot of pain that's going on, it just takes a lot of questions that we have to ask to see what exactly is going on. Where is the pain? Why is it coming on? Is it neurological? Is it surface? Is it, so whatever we need to do with that, that's where we kind of will combine rosemary and thyme together, or one or the other. So that's why a lot of people are like, well, thyme didn't work for me. It didn't take my pain away. Well, do we do thyme and rosemary together? So that's some of those things that we will move together. So next, yes. Yes, I will have to share. I did not put any jokes in here this time. Next time I have one that is the aloe plant, and she says, "Aloe, nice to see you." And he says, "It's been a long time since I've seen you." Yes, yes, yes. So I'll send that to you guys so that you have that joke too. Rosemary is popular in the natural medicine due to the many health properties as well. Like we said, it's very similar to thyme. So it's going to have a lot of health properties and benefits for that. Rosemary is also used a lot for headaches. Rosemary is a very good oil for headaches. It's really, really good, especially right now. Ragweed is up, so allergies are really high, right? So rosemary is a great oil for you to be diffusing at home, or having rosemary in a pot with warm water, and you're doing some kind of a diffuser and inhalation for rosemary. You can also put a few drops in your bathtub or in your shower. Those are really good, helpful for different allergies that are going on. Next slide is going to talk about arthritis. Rosemary is really, really good for arthritis. So if you use rosemary, which is another oil that we're going to talk about is ginger, those oils together, when you put them on a specific joint that is causing a lot of pain, it's a lot of anti-inflammatory oil that is being absorbed and going through breaking the blood-brain barrier. It's really hard to say. Don't say that fast. So that is going to alleviate a lot of that pain in your arthritic hands or feet or whatever that is needing. Next slide also talks about rosemary. It's also used in vapor to help with headaches. It's used as, like we were just talking about, allergy medicines, allergy relief, and so forth too. Next slide is lavender. So lavender is a very common oil. A lot of people don't realize how lavender can work as a pain oil. Lavender also is going to work as a relaxing oil. It's a sedative oil. So it's also going to give you that relaxation, because when you have that pain, you're tensed, right? So there's a lot of times or you don't realize how tensed you are, but lavender will make you calm. So when you get the rosemary and the lavender together, it's a beautiful scent together. So if you put those together, lavender is also an oil that you really want to be careful with too. A lot of people are allergic to lavender. So make sure that you know what you're allergic to and things like that, because it can have an adverse reaction. So you do want to make sure that you know what your allergies and such are. Lavender, the next slide just talks about how popular lavender is, which we all know that and we just discussed. So the next slide talks about how it can help alleviate any kind of pain. It really works well in the lower extremities. Lavender works really well with the knees, ankles, feet, different things like that, as well as in your shoulders and neck, but it does work much better in the feet area. Lavender seems to absorb a lot better in the feet. Next slide talks about, because lavender does have that sedative property, it's going to help with numbness. So anytime that you have that peripheral neuropathy or numbness in your feet or your foot goes to sleep, if you rub some lavender on it when it has that little tingling feeling, it's going to take that tingling feeling and open up those blood vessels. So it's going to really rush to that area and open that up, so your foot will start to wake back up a lot faster. Next slide is the use of lavender is pain relief due to the essential oil in a carrier oil. So definitely always use your lavender with a carrier oil like coconut oil, almond oil, jojoba oil, anything like that. You'll definitely want to use that. Next slide is, it just talks about applying it to the actual region of where you're hurting, which we just talked about, adding that with ginger and so forth too. Next slide is peppermint. So peppermint is another really popular oil. Peppermint is something that is very strong in oils. I definitely don't use a lot of peppermint with my seniors or my kids under the age of 10, because peppermint has properties that will affect any kind of blood pressure medicine, anything like that that you're using for blood enhancements, things like that. Any of your medications, you want to be careful with oils and using that, because they will have adverse reactions. So like I said, spearmint is another oil that you can use. So if you hear, oh, you need to use peppermint, and you're on a blood thinner, if you use spearmint, it will have the same properties that peppermint has for you, so that you won't have to get off of your blood thinner or anything like that. It helps with, peppermint's really good with headaches. It's really good with any kind of aches and pains. Peppermint is in a lot of your pain lotions. So you can use peppermint oil or spearmint oil in any lotions that you have, any unscented lotions that you have, add a drop of peppermint to it. You will notice a huge difference in your pain and how it opens up those blood vessels for that. Peppermint, oh, the next slide. Peppermint is one of the oldest essential oils that's used in the medicinal purposes. Peppermint is used a lot for opening up blood vessels, like we talked about. It's also used for pain. It's also used for sedative. So it'll be a sedative. Also, we use a lot of peppermint and spearmint for antispasmodic. So any kind of epilepsy, anything like that, those are good oils for that. Next slide. It just talks about all the among other health properties, which we kind of have already gone through all of those. Next slide is it's an analgesic. So peppermint can help in pain and inflammation. Helps with stomach. Oh, did we already go through all those slides? Yeah. Okay, great. Stomach. Okay, perfect. Lemongrass. We're up to lemongrass. So you are going through them. I love it. I'm so glad. No, because I'm talking and I've already read all these, so I forget that I've already passed them. Lemongrass. Oh, perfect. I love it. Perfect. Lemongrass. Lemongrass is our next oil. Lemongrass is another one that's very good at relieving pain. It's very nice smelling. If you add lemongrass to rosemary, it's a really soft, subtle allergy, headache, stuffiness type of blend that you can put together. That's a really good blend to help with allergies and any kind of sinus pain. That's a really good sinus one. The astringent properties of lemongrass also help with swelling. So anytime that there's a lot of times that we are very sedative, and I know with COVID, I have been a lot more sedative. So I've been setting a lot more. Setting down, that blood flow slows down, right? So with lemongrass, it helps with swelling. So it's going to improve that swelling. I know that smells. It's all over my fingers and I don't know how that happened. This room is gonna smell like we've got the aromatherapy going. Lemongrass is gonna help with swelling, and it's gonna help that swelling from spreading. So like if you start swelling from further extremities in your feet, rub some lemongrass on with some coconut oil, jojoba oil on your feet, rub it up into the calves. Make sure you're doing a lot of heavy massaging and so forth. Then you're definitely gonna keep that swelling from coming up or going down, whichever way you have that swelling going on. It also helps with the benefits of pain relieving and the massaging. So a lot of times massage therapists will use lemongrass with something else. So that's something that you'll probably smell when you're in a spa or at a massage therapist. Next is ginger, which we kind of started with ginger. I love ginger.
Oh, these are the chairs. They're nice chairs. How much do you think they are? $40.
I had ginger over here. There's clove.
I like them. No, I like
Yay! It's not lost. Ginger is one of my favorite oils. So I will tell you, ginger used to not be my favorite oil because I didn't like the smell of ginger. But ginger does a lot of things with upset stomachs. And if you put 1 drop of ginger oil in your belly button, it will take away your nausea. So if you are ever nauseated, what it does is it opens up that area and keeps you from being so nauseated. A lot of our cancer patients use that ginger oil, or just smelling ginger oil, or having ginger around. So that is something that you can use ginger for, because it's, I mean, obviously it's used in the kitchen and it helps with that calming of the stomach, acid and acid reflux. That's another really good one that ginger helps with. Liquid extract in the ginger root has been shown to help with a lot of the pain relieving. So any kind of problem with pain, ginger, like I said, also helps. It's an anti-inflammatory. So it really, really helps with your arthritis. So I will tell you, ginger in your hands, if you put 1 drop of ginger in your hand with coconut oil or almond oil, any kind of carrier oil that you have, rub your hands around, you will feel such a huge relief in your whole, your whole hand. So not just one little area. I will tell you, I had somebody that they were just putting ginger oil on this joint and this joint and this joint. So if you will just put one drop in your hand, rub your whole hand, that 1 drop will go a very, very long way. So yeah. Next thing is that it can be used both internally and externally. I would be very careful with using ginger oil, essential oil internally. I would not use it internally unless you have contacted a professional and they've given you that information on how to use it, because a lot of times too much of that oil can hurt the esophagus, because these oils are definitely very, very, very strong. So just for example, in 1 drop of peppermint oil, it is equivalent to 20,000 leaves of peppermint. So that's like eating 20, like all those leaves. So you definitely don't want to do that. It's a lot. Yeah. So if you're searching for a great remedy for arthritis, ginger oil is one of those oils. Clove oil is the next oil. That is one of my favorite ones. And with fall coming, I will tell you, I think I just diffuse clove just to have that smell, because it is such a good fall smell to me. Clove is one of the oils that will help with numbing as well. So if you feel like you're having a lot of aches, just those muscle, I'm just tired, achy type of thing, clove is a really good oil. Mixing clove with rosemary, which is the anti-spasmodic, is going to help with those aches as well. Clove's going to give you energy too. So it will also give you that energy as you start using those together. It's also an anti-neurological effect. So it will help with any kind of neurological pain that you're having. So any kind of spine pain, any kind of numbness down your legs, those types of things, it's definitely going to be a helpful oil to use. So anytime, it also is a good oil anytime that you have the feet that go to sleep. Again, any tingling that you have anywhere in your fingers or your feet or anything like that, clove is one of those oils that you can run to. Just a few drops of clove in a cotton ball and apply it to the area. That is one oil that you don't have to use a carrier oil with. I will tell you, I suggest you always start with a carrier oil. And then if you notice that you're not having any kind of adverse reactions, you can use clove without that carrier oil, as long as you don't have the reactions to that. Okay, sandalwood. Sandalwood is an oil that is not used very often in pain blends. Also not used a lot, period. Because sandalwood is a very expensive oil, sandalwood is from a tree bark that is a tree that has been grown for over 100 years.
The bottle's tiny.
Tiny. And that tiny bottle runs anywhere from $80 to $120. If it is a true essential oil, it's going to be very, very expensive. So I will tell you that tiny bottle is very expensive, which is why it's not used very often. But it is definitely a very, very potent oil. When it comes out of the bottle, it's very viscous. So it's very thick. So it's not just going to be an oil that's going to drop. It's going to be a very thick oil. So you know that that oil is going to work very, very well. You're not going to have to use a lot of that oil. So that's why it's not used as much. There's a lot of other anti-inflammatory oils that we can go to first. That is an oil that I would go to last if something is still not working. But that again goes back to, are we open to using the oils? Are we putting all of the oils together that need to be put together? And have we tried different oils? Because everybody's different. Everybody's body makeup is completely different. So each oil is going to react differently with your body. So we just have to figure out which oil works best for what your needs are. Next oil is eucalyptus. Sorry, Zoe. Eucalyptus is another oil that we use really, really well in allergy season. Eucalyptus is a anti-inflammatory oil as well. It is very, very helpful in any kind of sinus pressure, any kind of neck pain, shoulder pain. That's another good oil for shoulders. So eucalyptus I use a lot for waist up. I don't use a lot of eucalyptus for waist down because there's really not a lot that eucalyptus is going to do a lot in the waist down, but it is an anti-inflammatory oil that does help with swelling. So a lot of times eucalyptus, you can put a drop of eucalyptus in your hands. A lot of times when I'm walking, my hands swell. So a drop of eucalyptus will open that up and my hands are not as swollen anymore, especially in the summer, but we're not having to work that anymore. Thank goodness. Colder air needs to come and hurry fast. One more. Chamomile, Roman chamomile, is another oil that is a pain relieving oil. Roman chamomile, so there's Roman chamomile and German chamomile. Both of those oils are used for pain relieving. Some of them are used for different properties. So the Roman chamomile oil is used for stomach. It's really good if you're having an upset stomach. If you use Roman chamomile, ginger, and peppermint or spearmint, that's going to be one of your really good. If you just diffuse that, if you're just having an upset stomach, that's a really good blend to use around the house. It is also due to the constituents that's called casimoline that's in it, which is a very difficult constituent to say, but it is one that helps with the inflammation. So that is what they use Roman chamomile for. It also comes in a very small bottle as well. It's not as expensive as sandalwood, but it also is a calming oil like lavender. So I'm sure that you've heard chamomile. Drink chamomile tea, take chamomile at night to help you with sleeping, to calm you down and to calm your day. So that is something that will help as well. It's also really nice to put chamomile on and let it dry. You don't want to rub it in. It is one oil that you definitely just want to drop onto the affected area and let it dry. You don't have to massage chamomile. It's going to work a lot better if it just goes in by itself. Next one is Clary Sage. Clary Sage is a oil that helps with a lot of women use Clary Sage. Clary Sage is used for hormones. It's really good with blood type of inflammation. So anytime that you have any kind of blood swelling, any kind of wounds, Clary Sage is a good one for wounds as well. It's also really good for stress. Clary Sage, obviously, it's a hormonal oil, so it's going to work with your hormones. I'm not saying it's going to change your hormones, but it's definitely going to help with the stress level. Anytime that you have that nervous stomach, so if you're nervous about getting any kind of results, you're going to take a test or you're having anything like that, Clary Sage is one that is very good to have diffusing. You can have it, just put it on your hand and smell it. It doesn't have to be with a carrier oil as well. So Clary Sage is a really good one to have around. I know they're growing. It should not be ingested though. Clary Sage should never be ingested. So you definitely don't ever want to ingest Clary Sage. If you do happen to get it, swallow it or something like that, make sure that you contact poison control or a professional with that. Okay. Wintergreen. Wintergreen is the other oil that is a great, it's very strong. So it's going to have one of those bottles that you have to push down and then turn.
It's not so proof.
So wintergreen is another very strong oil that they put in pain lotions. So anytime that like you get icy hot, things like that, you're going to find a wintergreen in it. If it's an all natural icy hot, that's what wintergreen is in. It's also got one of those caps, like I just told Zoe. It's very difficult to open because it's a very strong oil. So it's been used for a lot of years, for many years. So it's one of the older oils as well. It's also used for any kind of gastrointestinal problems. So anytime that you're having any kind of bowel issues, wintergreen is a good oil for that. So you definitely want to put it with a carrier oil or a lotion that is unscented, rub it onto the gut area, and it's going to be a great, you can just go with that. Perfect. It's going to be a great anti-spasmatic because that's where the spasms come from the colon and things like that. So it's going to be a great oil for that. It also helps with any kind of muscle spasms. Anybody have a Charlie horse at night? Yeah. So wintergreen is one of those oils that works really, really well for Charlie horses, any kind of cramps in your feet, those types of things. Wintergreen is good for that. And it can also be applied for any kind of headaches and things like that. One thing that you do want to make sure that, because it is one of those very strong oils, that you're not on any kind of blood thinners or aspirin when you take wintergreen. Next one is marjoram. Marjoram is another oil that has been used for many, many years. It is a popular oil in Europe. So they use a lot, I think they have a lot more of that plant there from what I have read. And that's the reason, but it also is a very good oil for swelling. So it's going to help with swelling. Adding marjoram to any kind of blend that you have, 1 drop, 2 drops, a very small amount, is going to also help with that anti-inflammation. So marjoram is a really good oil to have. It also helps with mood. So that's going to also enhance your mood. So if you're in pain, when you're in pain, you just don't feel good, right? So it's just that I don't feel like I want to do anything. So marjoram's also going to help enhance the mood to help you with that pain. You can't use marjoram by itself. I mean, I guess you could, but that's going to be an oil that you're going to be like, oils didn't work for me because it's just marjoram. You really want to mix marjoram with something else for it to be effective. Okay. Juniper oil. I don't have juniper up here.
I'll go find it.
Okay. Juniper oil is really good for in the showers. It's also really good for any kind of stretching. So if you've overstretched, if you feel like you're just really tight and you need to stretch, it's really good for those types of muscles. So juniper is a really good oil that will help elongate and stretch out your skin. So anything like that, you don't want a whole lot of stretching of the skin, but it is a good oil for that. Oh, okay. Juniper. It might be here. I'll look for it. Next one is Hylascarum. Okay, we'll move on past juniper since we don't have it, but it is a good oil for any kind of stretching. So if you're trying to get more motion in your arms or legs or feet, juniper oil is really good for motion. That's the Hylascarum. Hylascarum is an oil that is also used to help with any kind of bruises, any kind of sunburn. It's a blood oil, so it's going to help increase blood flow to the area that you're having pain at. So therefore, you're going to get a lot more blood flow to that area. It is one oil that you can use by itself. It doesn't have to be in a blend. It's a really good oil to use for arthritis as well. So it's a great oil by itself where it doesn't have to be in a blend. It also helps with sunburns. So Hylascarum is a good oil. It's another very expensive oil, so it's not used a whole lot. That little bottle ranges from about $40 to $60, depending on the oil. I think that it's turmeric. Turmeric is another oil. It is an anti-inflammatory oil, but it also is a good blood circulation. So it helps circulate that blood to the affected area. Turmeric is an oil that is used more frequently than Hylascarum. It does a lot of the same properties that Hylascarum is going to do, but it's much less expensive than Hylascarum. So you're definitely going to probably turn to turmeric before you turn to Hylascarum because it's going to cost you less. Properties in them, I think Hylascarum is a little bit stronger than turmeric, but turmeric is still going to do the same oil the same properties that you would need it to do. It blends really well with ginger, and it also blends well with vanilla, ylang, because turmeric doesn't smell very good, I don't think. Some people may think it smells good, but Do you like it? Okay, good.
I have a question here. Give me the microphone.
Yes.
All right, so here's my question. I'm losing stuff. I'm gonna make a mess up here. So I noticed when I was taking the turmeric around for people to smell, there is a yellowish color to it, right? So do you have to be careful about it staining your clothes?
Yes. With turmeric, you do have to be careful with the stain of your clothes. Honestly, with any of these oils, you really want to be careful with the stain of the clothes because they are very, very strong. Like sandalwood, it is so viscous and so thick, it can definitely affect your clothes and things like that. So, but as long as you use coconut oil, you should be able to get it out. Coconut oil is a good, yes, thank you. Needed that one. Oh, emulsifier. Thanks to Zoe. All right. Okay, Copayaba is another anti-inflammatory oil. It has since been okay. Copayaba should be. It's a good inflammation oil. Let's see if we can find it.
Oh, cedarwood. I love cedarwood.
It may be over
Can I
there.
check over there?
Yeah. Copayaba has been since discovered as a all-natural CBD oil. So it does the same properties as CBD does. So it's an anti-inflammatory. It helps with wound healing. So anytime that you have any kind of scars, any kind of wounds that are trying to heal, Copayaba is a good oil for that. It also helps with any kind of infections. Copayaba is the best oil that we've used for bladder infections, urinary tract infections. So I may have it over here. I know I brought like, so those are tea tree oil. For Copayaba, no, you're gonna actually rub it on your stomach with a, no, maybe I don't have it in here. It'll be in my purse. I'll dig.
Okay.
Copayaba, you're going to add it to a lotion, or you're going to add it to a oil, like a carrier oil, coconut oil or something like that. Because it's a carrier oil, you want the constituents and the properties of Copayaba to really get in there. So you're going to use that carrier oil because it's going to carry it through to the blood-brain barrier so that it's going to get to that bladder infection. Yep, strep throat. So you're just going to rub it around your throat, rub it all around your neck, things like that. You definitely, I would not suggest taking Copayaba internally. Yep. There's different applications, which is what we were just talking about. So you can diffuse any of these oils. You can, for headaches is what I would use diffusing for. You can also do any kind of inhalation where you put it in your bath water. You can put it in a big jar or a bowl and stick your head over the top of it with a towel. It's a steam inhalation. You can also do, there's different types of patches that we have that you can put on your skin or on your clothes, and it constantly is doing the inhalation for you. Then there's direct application, which we talked about, where you can use it with a carrier oil or you can put it directly on the affected site. A word of caution is just to make sure that you always dilute your oils. Make sure that you ask any questions to any professional that has any training with oils so that you're not just swallowing oils or doing any kind of craziness with oils. I have had people that have, you would be surprised. People put oils everywhere. So you really want to make sure that, I've had somebody even put oils in their eyes to try to help with, like, no, please don't. So it's definitely something that you want to, because turmeric is a very good oil that helps with eyesight, but it's something that we really want to focus on in the head. So I do a lot of oil work for eyes in the head, or on top of the scalp, more than you put it in your eyes, drop it into your eyes. This next slide is blends. I gave a list of a couple of different blends that you can put on for roll-on bottles, so common cold, stress, nervous tension, arthritis, sleep, dry and cracked skin, sore and tired feet, and muscle soreness. So these are some of the blends that you can add to roller bottles or to a lotion. Either way, those will work. And I think that that's it. Yay! Questions? Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay.
List or give us some carrier oils besides coconut oil. What else does it carry? Jojoba oil?
It is. So her question is what are other types of carrier oils besides coconut oil? Any type of fatty oil is a good carrier oil. So anything that's like jojoba oil is a really good carrier oil. Coconut oil is just the most common. Almond oil is another really good one. Aloe oil is a good one. You can use argan oil. That is a very good one as well. Yes. You can use olive oil. It's going to be really oily. You're not going to get as much absorption with olive oil. It's just that you're gonna have to use a lot more of your essential oil if you use your olive oil. It's not going to hurt if that's what you have. Yeah.
Okay, remember, repeat the question. Can you make something up in a roller for someone to buy?
Can I mix something up in a roller for someone to buy? Absolutely, yes. I do that all the time. I do consultations. I can meet you at your home or wherever or here, wherever's easiest for you. I also have I think I have it with me. I have a little scanner that it's like a GSR scanner, which works like a Fitbit or your Apple Watch. It will tell me what oils work best with your bloodstream at that time and what emotions and situation that you have going on, so we can get a roller bottle mixed for what your situation is at that time.
Okay, what is the best oil to use for lower back pain?
Best oil for lower back pain would probably be wintergreen. And I would use wintergreen, rosemary, turmeric. Those would be my top three.
This was for my own personal question. Tension headaches, muscle tension, muscle that causes tension headaches. What would you recommend?
Tension headaches. What would I recommend? I would recommend Clary Sage would be really helpful in tension. Peppermint is another one that is very, very good, or spearmint, they interchange. And then my top third one on that would probably be eucalyptus or thyme.
Great.
Yep. Yes. So bone on your knees, you're going to treat it like it's arthritic. So any of your arthritis oils, it's not going to regenerate that in there, but it will relieve a little bit of that pain for sure. It's definitely going to help the inflammation, because you're getting a lot of inflammation because those bones are grinding on each other. So it can definitely help the inflammation. So it's going to relieve that pain a little bit for you there. Yep. Yes. That's a good question. I've never used marjoram to use as a preventative, but you could try it. I don't see, it's not going to hurt you. If you're prone to getting a lot of cramps, then yes, I would definitely suggest it. If you're getting leg cramps and foot cramps regularly, I would also suggest any kind of magnesium, increasing your magnesium as well. And that's going to help. The marjoram definitely will will help it not be so severe when they do start to come on. And then you can just add more marjoram as they start to happen. No, I'm just saying that that's just what I've been. I wish there was a magnesium oil. Yeah. Oh. Yes.
Would you recommend using both of them for like rotating to see which one would work?
Rosemary and ginger used for arthritis and rotating them, I would definitely suggest that for sure. I do what? I would definitely try it and rotate them. You may want to add that third oil. I always do my blends in 3 to 5 oils. So when you do a blend, then all it does is it just enhances the effectiveness of the oil. When you put them all together, which is why blends work so well, is the more oils that you add, the more they're going to work together and reduce that inflammation and get into that blood. But you don't want to add you don't want to add all of these oils. You want to pick your top ones that work for you. If rosemary and ginger are not working for you, you may need to switch to thyme and turmeric. There's different oils that we can definitely try. Yes. Simple arthritis. So you've had both hips replaced and simple arthritis. What's the best? Is that the question? Okay. So I would say simple arthritis for that would be, I would use the thyme as well as wintergreen because you've had both hips replaced. And then I would add some turmeric or rosemary, depending on what you're good. Yes. So I would just add those other two and you would be set. I'd rub it right on the hip area. Correct.
I have another question from Sam. Best oil for shoulder and neck pain, tightness, and tension.
Best oil for shoulder and neck pain, tightness, and tension would be probably the same thing I would suggest to you. The Clary Sage, the Peppermint, Rosemary, Eucalyptus, any of those are really good for the upper body area.
Linda B said wintergreen too for the tension and tightness.
Wintergreen is really good for that, yes.
And I did let everyone know we're really interested in the blend slide. So if you send that to the people, I will make sure I get that.
Give me the, yes. Yes.
Okay, and then can you recommend any print or web sources to learn more about essential oils and research of its uses? I'm aware of medlineplus.gov for the National Library of Medicine.
Any resources for essential oils and researches. Research at PubMed does have a lot of research on essential oils. They're doing many more studies on essential oils and dementia and Alzheimer's and how the effectiveness of how they're used for different blood issues. So PubMed is a good research website. PUB. Yes. Yes. Dr. Axe is okay. There's some stuff that he sends that I trust. There's some stuff that he sends that I question, but I mean, there's a lot of research out there. I can send you a list of a lot of the different websites that I use, but I will tell you, I don't use them as the Bible. I'll send you the websites that I use for my education, where I got my certification. And those I do trust a lot more because they're used in Europe. I did get my certification in London, so I got all of that done overseas, where they actually use essential oils in the hospitals, and they use them for a lot of medicinal purposes there. So I trust the clinical trials and such that they use there. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What do I use for dementia and Alzheimer's? Rosemary is a really good oil for dementia and Alzheimer's. It is a blood oil that increases the blood flow to the brain. It also helps with any kind of memory issues. We joke around at my house that we go through tubs and tubs of rosemary oil at our house because we're all forgetful. So that is something that we make sure. Did you get your rosemary today? Rosemary oil is a good one. Thyme is another good oil for memory. So those are two oils that I do use for memory as well. Orange and any kind of citrus oil is also orange, lemon. Those types of oils are really, really good for memory as well.
I haven't tried candy rosemary bush at home.
Yes.
Is there any way, other than just sprinkling it by food, chicken, and whatever, but is there any way to use it
Medicinal. So you can take so you've got a rosemary bush at home. Can we use it in any other way? Perfect. Okay. I hope I repeated that right. Excellent. Yes, you can take the rosemary leaves and boil them in water and use them as a steam inhalation, kind of a diffusing purpose, as well as, obviously using them to cook is obviously a really good. You can also use them in the shower or in the bath. So you can use it that way, the leaves. Yep, they're really good. Absorption rate is really well in the bathtub. Yeah. Okay, thank you guys so much in Zoom. Thank you for joining us, and let me know if I can be of any assistance.
Well, thanks for joining us today. That was a little different than what we're used to doing. It was the first time, but all in all, I think it went pretty smooth. So I will see you guys on Thursday. We have Brandon McGee on Zoom, and he's going to be talking about something with attorney stuff. I don't have my notes in front of me, so I apologize. I don't remember exactly what it is. But thanks for joining us. And like I said, if you have any questions at all, Joey can make the blends for you and can help educate you on what you need. Her phone number is there on my screen, or you can call me here at the office. I'll get you her number and her email address, but she will be sending out that information about the blends to all of you in the Zoom. So thanks for joining us, guys. Have a good day. Bye.